honestly a lot.
Why did you guys even try to have that?
The reviews are coming
I
out.
could have told you that.
Exactly.
I like the eternal optimism you guys showed. It
Uh,
was refreshing coming from you cops.
I said a long time ago, this is gonna be a train wreck. We can avoid it now.
Did anybody think things were still okay?
All right, I'm going to call the May 20th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everybody. Please sign in.
Five members present.
Okay, and Ryan, I see that there have been some changes to the agenda.
Yep, one change, item 4M, second amended restated development agreement with JGC Holdings. That is been removed from tonight's agenda. Expect to have that back on the next meeting. And also not a change to the agenda, but we did make a correction to the resolutions for items 6K and 6L, which are related to conveyance of property to Herd Black LLC and Herd West Glen LLC, just to correct a little bit of language in the resolution. So
Perfect. Can I get a
So moved.
motion to approve the agenda as amended? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, moving on to item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody that would like to address the council on anything that is not either part of public hearings or new business, please come to the podium here, give us your name and address for the record, and we ask that you keep it to 5 minutes or less. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on Citizens Forum? Is there anybody online that would like to address the council on Citizens Forum? If you're online joining us and you'd like to address the council, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, not hearing or seeing anybody here, I will declare the Citizens Forum closed. We're going to move on to item 3, Mayor, Council, Manager Report, Other Entities Update, and we will start down to my right with City Manager Tom Haddon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, as the storm season is in full swing, I just want to let you know we do have an emergency management center that goes into action at the Public Services Building. Fire, police, public services, and anybody or engineering are there because now we have the drought. We've had enough rain where the streams have come up. Have you seen? So we have to be aware of potential flooding, and if there's strong storms or tornadoes, what we do with debris management programs, making sure we're in conformity with FEMA regulations and rules so we can get reimbursement. So I just want to let you know we are. Craig sends out all the alerts, and they're coming fairly frequent now. So I just want to let you know we'll keep you in the loop also for that. So the other one is I'd like to introduce and I haven't met her. I think she's in the back row there. Tracy Glass. Tracy, you want to stand up and introduce yourself here to we're welcome. And I think there's a thing tomorrow night for you at the library, a reception at 6:30. Is that correct? Tracy comes from Lincoln, Nebraska. She was assistant director there for the years. She's had experience in Nashville, Tennessee, and Portland, Oregon, and Arizona. So she's been around the country, and hopefully she brings some great ideas for us. So we would look forward to working with you. All right.
Welcome. Yeah.
That's my report,
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Moving on to Councilman Hudson. Any report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one quick report. As you all know, I serve as the Vice Chair of Catch Des Moines, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and just some exciting goings-on because we have the National Speech and Debate Tournament coming to the metropolitan area, and I just have to say they are filling so many hotel rooms. There will be, I think that weekend in June, the nearest hotel room that's available for one or two of those nights is in Ames, which means every hotel room in the entire metropolitan area basically is completely filled because we have high school students from all over coming to Des Moines, and they will also be doing the exact same thing next year. So just so you know, the red carpet is being rolled out because we want to make sure that all of these high school students, number one, realize that this is a great place to come to a speech and debate tournament, but also that, hey, those young adults who I hear are pretty smart if they're good at debating, maybe they're looking for a long-range kind of metropolitan area to settle in, and hey, you're welcome in the metropolitan area of Des Moines, and of course, West Des Moines being on the top of that list, that would be great too, but just some great goings-on this summer as tourism season is upon us, and when it comes down to the people who come to West Des Moines, when it comes to the people who are coming to this metropolitan area, always remember about 30% of all the tourists, they're staying in West Des Moines. So I think that's a big difference maker as well. So, and that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McKinney.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of very quick things, actually, is that I want to acknowledge the Human Rights Commission. Last week, they had their retreat in which they have reengaged themselves and talked more about their mission and their purpose and what they want to accomplish for the city of West Des Moines. I think they're doing great work as it is, but I really applaud them for spending some significant time together as a team in a retreat just here recently. I think it's important that we acknowledge the Chamber for the Centennial Celebration that we all pretty much had an opportunity to participate in. I think they did just a phenomenal job of celebrating 100 years as a chamber, which certainly has great impact here on the city of West Des Moines. I think you, Mr. Mayor, gave a very good report about the city and acknowledging their work and
Thank you.
all the significant accomplishments, but I thought it was a phenomenal affair last Thursday at the Val Air. Couldn't think of a better place to have it. So congratulations, Catherine, in your absence. I know you're listening somewhere, and your team for really showing up and showing out. How's that? I'd like to also lift up an event that happened in West Des Moines. It was a panel of 3 Valley High School students, and they spoke at the Freedom Riders panel that is a part of history about when young people decide to stand up and have their voices heard. I do want to applaud Councilman Hudson for helping get these 3 students there, helping to prepare them. They were absolutely phenomenal. And to hear them speak, I was just in awe about how mature they were, how well-spoken they were, how much they knew of the history, and how much they shared about their vision of really having their voices be heard. So thank you, Councilman Hudson, for helping choose 3 students that I think represented Valley well, you well, and this community well, and the event exemplarily well. So I like them so much. They're going to be my guest at an Empower event. They talked a lot about immigrants and being a part of RISE, and so I'm hoping that they'll be my guests at our event in June, where we lift up the work of immigrants and refugees and the contributions they're making to Iowa. So anyway, just great stuff happening throughout our city, our great city, and just want to lift that work up.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lotz.
One really quick thing. I want to congratulate the mayor and Councilman Hudson and Director Stiles on, today we're going to issue about $22 million in bonds. And the net weighted interest, or the interest between the 2 issuances is 3.08 and 3.18%. That goes right along with our AAA rating. If you all wouldn't be managing this ship so tightly, we wouldn't be able to get money so cheaply. And, there's probably, if you add 300 basis points onto either one of those, that's probably another $2 million in interest expense we would have just on this issuance that wouldn't be going towards patching roads or doing whatever we're doing. So congratulations to you guys for doing such a good job with the city's finances. So thank you. This is a big deal.
Councilman Lotz, you are part of this team as well as all of the previous council members who sat up here and put us in the great shape that we're in right now. So thank you as well.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. So thank you, everybody. The council, thank you, the finance department, Tim, Chris, your entire staff, everything. Tom, Jamie, for all you guys do to make sure that we are running a tight ship and being fiscally conservative and watching the taxpayers' dime. And it really does make a difference in the end with the AAA bond rating and the price that we're able to borrow money for. So that is awesome. I would also just say from my report that I would echo the comments of Councilman Hardman. Kudos to the chamber. It was a phenomenal event. I mean, there were over 500 people there. I mean, I can't even imagine pulling off an event like that, but it went off without a hitch, and just great to showcase the chamber, our business community, and how important they are to our city, and all the contributions that they make. So it was just a great evening of celebrating the chamber, and I think everybody had a great time. With that, we will move on to item 4, consent items. Are there any items that any council person would like to have polled and voted on separately? Otherwise, it would take a motion to approve the consent agenda as distributed.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved, it's been seconded. Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5, old business, item 5A, ordinance amendment, amend Title III, business and licensing to modify regulations pertaining to the sales and storage of fireworks, city initiated. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third reading, adoption to final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the first reading, which was obviously approved unanimously by the council at the last meeting.
Motion to consider the second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title III Business and Licensing, Chapter 14, Sale of Fireworks pertaining to the sales and storage of fireworks.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5B, ordinance amendment, Ponderosa Tax Increment Financing District, city initiated. We have once again got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third reading, adoption of final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at the last meeting.
Move consideration of the first.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2575, providing that general property taxes levied and collected each year on all property located within the amended Ponderosa urban renewal area in the city of West Des Moines be paid to a special fund for payment of principal and interest on loans, monies advanced to, and indebtedness, including bonds issued or to be issued incurred by the city in connection with the amended Ponderosa urban renewal area.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Move to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5C, with second reading, waiver of the third and adoption, of proposed ordinance to the city code, Title IV, Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 5C, Solid Waste Control, modifications, fees, and charges. Again, as I just stated, we've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third, adoption of final form. There are no outstanding issues, no changes from the previous reading, which was, again, unanimously adopted by the council at the last meeting. Somebody want to move approval or move consideration?
Move consideration.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa by amending Title IV Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 5, Article C pertaining to solid waste collection charges.
Move approval of second reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Move approval of waiving third reading and move and adopt in final form.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5D, issuance of not to exceed 15.945 million general obligation capital loan notes. We've got a resolution for issuance of that amount of general obligation capital loan notes. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously at the last council meeting. Somebody want to move
To
approval?
approve.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay. Item 5E, issuance of not to exceed 5.98 million in general obligation urban renewal bonds. Again, we've got a resolution for issuance of not to exceed 5.98 million of general obligation urban renewal bonds. There are no outstanding issues. And again, this was also approved unanimously at the last council meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6, public hearings, item 6A. This is time and place for a public hearing to consider the Lancaster northwest of the intersection of South 85th Street and Cascade Avenue, amend comprehensive plan land use map and amend zoning map to establish land use and zoning appropriate for high-density residential development initiated by Bryan Properties LLC. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 1st, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And received any written comment to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the comp plan amendment and rezoning request.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6A, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6A? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the first reading of the consistency zoning, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry, let me back up. Sorry.
We've got a resolution
We've got two
ordinance.
items. We've got a resolution for approval of the comprehensive plan amendment, and we've got an ordinance for approval of the first reading. So let's first take the resolution. Doug, do you want to move approval of the resolution?
Move approval of the resolution.
Okay. Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Four yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, and now we've,
Well,
just,
Greg, you abstained?
did you abstain?
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
one abstention.
Not because of conflict.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
That was an assumption.
All right, then we've got an ordinance for approval of the first reading.
Motion to consider the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, 1 abstention. An ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 4 zoning districts and maps.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes, 1 abstention.
Okay, for item 6B, we are being asked to continue this to the June 3rd council meeting. Can I get a motion to?
Motion to continue.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6C, this is time and place for a public hearing to consider Village of Jordan Creek, southwest corner of Jordan Creek Parkway and Ashworth Road, amend parcel A within the Village of Jordan Creek planned unit development to modify square footage allowances for restaurants and commercial uses and associated parking requirements initiated by CRG Residential. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 6, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the PUD amendment.
Okay, anybody from the audience would like to address the council on item 6C, please come to the podium and give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody from the audience or online that would like to address the council on item 6C? Okay, seeing no movement and hearing nothing, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. And we've got an ordinance amendment for approval, the first reading. There are no outstanding issues, and this was also approved unanimously by the Development and Planning City Council Subcommittee. Somebody want to move consideration?
Move consideration of the first reading.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Hey, Lynn, I had a quick question about this one. So as I look through 6C here about the village at Jordan Creek, and I'm looking at on page 2 to 3, and it's under alternate parking. The PUD amendment also allows, if needed, to meet parking minimums for the proposed use, the option provides employee-only parking off-site. If using this alternative, an off-site parking agreement must be provided by the developer and owner to show permanent parking is being provided off-site. Could you tell me more what that looks like, if that alternative method would be utilized, I guess?
Certainly, Lynn Tweet, Director of Development Services. In this case, the developer is looking to have a discussion with the office parcels to the north, on the north side of Ashworth Road there. This would not be the one at the corner, it'd be the kind of the next one to the west. So it really is a written agreement with them stating that they can use that for employee parking. We will only allow that with a written agreement, with a defined path that takes them down to that corner and a crossing at the intersection, as well as documentation of either there is overabundance of parking in that site to accommodate it if they happen to use it during the office hours that are open, or it has to be after hours for that office use. So it's literally allowing them to take some of their employees and have them park across the street, which frees up parking on the site then for patrons.
All right. Oh, Kevin, go ahead.
So what happens when that office building sells and the new owner says, no?
Well,
Then what?
They would have to find us a new agreement with somebody or find a way to put some parking on, or they would have to reduce the amount of restaurants they have in that building.
And who's going to police that?
I think it'll become pretty obvious pretty quick when there's not enough room on that site.
Right, but we're not going to have the ability to pull their occupancy permit because they don't have enough parking.
Yeah, we will have sign permits that trip.
Yep.
With that, any kind of change in use, but it would literally be a demonstrated problem is probably what would trip it for us to get
Well,
back
and
involved.
this isn't unique. I mean, we're doing this currently today with the building, I think, is it the Knapp property at 50th and in Westtown? I think there's
Yep.
something similar. Remember that years ago? We had another situation where there was some use of the building that, I don't know if it was
Oh, is this where the event venue went in
event
there?
venue. They had an
Yeah,
event
we had the
venue, and
same
we had to do
idea.
the exact same thing that we're doing now, and it really wasn't a problem that I know of, right?
You're right. We have not received any complaints on that one, is yes, when the event venue is operating, whether that be a conference during the day, if
Yeah.
they can't use the other sites, then they have to make their adjustments to alleviate any impact.
So we've done this before, at least, I guess is my point. and
I know, and we
so far.
started this precedent with Valley High School when they
Yes.
leased the church part, which I don't agree with. I think it's crazy. And to me, we've got parking requirements for each property. And I guess that's what I struggle with, that, well, yeah, here's the requirements, but, well, if you can come up with this, and so they walk half a block, then we'll allow it. But if it sells, then we're probably not going to do anything. I think we're bending over backwards too far on our requirements. So to me, we either reduce our requirements or don't allow the projects, so.
So we had, if I could, or go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, we had a pretty extensive development planning meeting on this roughly a month ago. And we talked about it at length, as we do a lot of things in the development planning subcommittee.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we talked to, the developer was present there, and they talked about how they are cognizant of the need for parking for their own purposes, right? And so they have been very selective and talked about, different use cases that had been brought to them for this particular site. And they broke down typically, I'll say the hours of use. So I think we all recognize you've got the Ruth's Chris restaurant on the corner there, which they acknowledge is, somewhat of a lunch, but primarily a dinner spot. Mm-hmm. They talked about Homegrown, which is primarily a breakfast and somewhat of a lunch spot, right? And so when you take into consideration the heavy traffic of the nighttime use at Ruth's Chris, the heavier use in the morning for Homegrown, they specifically sought out a tenant there, this Tzatziki Cafe, which is more of a lunch spot, so that traffic and parking is balanced in a manner that will not, impact the ability to park there. Beyond that, we said, hey, we expressed, or at least I and I think Councilwoman Hardman also expressed concern about what does this mean down the road. So in addition to them, making sure that the use cases don't result in, let's just say three nighttime restaurants there where you're definitely overparked. We said you got to kind of limit it to in a manner that you're not going to overpark, number one. And number two, I think we had this discussion as we're talking about now, you have to have a backup plan in the event that the existing parking isn't sufficient. The other thing I'd add, and I know it's in the pinky, is that we also talked about the fact that they have a back office, so to speak, or a back, the back half of the restaurant, where the parking requirements are currently the same for both the front house as well as the back of the house, which is not necessarily, it's not particularly necessary. And so we're changing this to say, hey, in the back of the house, I think it's one per employee for the largest part of your shift. In other words, for the employees parking, but for the general patron to attend or to park there, you have to have the full parking requirement. I guess what I'm trying to say is we work through this in pretty good detail to ensure that we're not requiring more parking than is otherwise necessary, and to ensure that the parking that's available actually fits the needs that are demanded by the particular use case. We tried to really custom fit, so to speak, the PUD in a manner that fits the need, so we don't have more excess parking than we need.
So is this only for this current restaurant that's a lunch crowd, or does it perpetual because they're changing the PUD?
The PUD has language in it with any tenant change. They need to go through the parking study and show us that they're going to have that available parking on site or have the other agreement in place before we would release a new tenant improvement permit for any of the other change in restaurant operations or a change in use.
So how far away are these employees required to park now?
It's about 1,000 feet that they'll be walking.
And you're gonna, the language says that they have to go down to 74th or Jordan Creek Parkway in Ashworth.
Of course, the city is going to say, we want you to cross at the signal, yes.
We know realistically it's not gonna happen, and that's a 5-lane road.
But there will be a new signal at 76th Street, will there not? Eventually, a traffic signal at 76th and Ashworth? Okay.
Maybe someday.
And-
So
Yeah, of course, Chris can opt to even run a shuttle back and forth. They have options as to what they can do, which is what we asked them to do when they're first trying to open up Ruth Chris and still had a lot of the construction. They worked it out with Lutheran Church of Hope. They ran a shuttle back and forth for the employees. So they have their options on how palatable they want to make it for the employees. We are trying to protect the city, and we know there is really no extra parking in the area. The ramp was supposed to be built so that they could add another level. If worse comes to worse, that would be their other option, is to come in and do that.
I would just say, I think that, would you want to add to?
You go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, I appreciate the dialogue back and forth up here. I really appreciate, development and planning, delving into this thing, working with staff to come up with this solution. I appreciate what Councilman Trevilian is saying, for sure. I mean, if we've got regulations, then we probably ought to abide by them. But at the same time, this is the reason that, a lot of governments are very inflexible. They're very rigid. We are not. We are flexible. We work with business to try to get things done. This is why for I don't know how many years in a row, and I've lost track and somebody always has to correct me, let's just say 25, 26 years in a row, we've become the best city to do business in, according to the business record in the metro, because of this kind of flexibility and working with businesses to make it work. So while I totally understand what Kevin is saying and I appreciate what he's saying, I also appreciate the efforts that you guys undertook to be able to come up with this solution. I think it makes perfect sense. Is it going to make perfect sense forever? No. If it changes, we'll have to come back and revisit it, but appreciate all the work that went into this. Councilwoman Hardman.
Yeah, I want to just echo, I think that the remarks made by Councilman McKinney are right on point. That eloquently really describes the consternation and the discussion and the back and forth that occurred during this meeting when trying to consider a way that would allow us to be a little bit flexible, given the dynamics of each of those business partners and what they were committing to do. And so while we all on this dais want to honor the rules and regs and all of that are in place, I think that, we all sit on these committees with intentions of trying to say, how do you create a win as best as you can without, creating major issues. And so we landed upon this as a great compromise with lots of discussions back and forth that I think the developers are willing to work with us on.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Hart, Councilman McKinney, sorry.
Yeah, I just maybe to further add here, Councilman Trevelyan, I understand what you're saying about folks walking across the street. The first thing I'd tell you is I don't believe that that's going to be a situation as described by the developers that is going to be the standard. It may happen on an Easter Sunday or something where Homegrown's busy and Ruth's Chris has a brunch and Tzatziki Cafe is open to the same. It may happen on a random time, but of course, you don't know. What they talked about and what we all discussed was if these were, you have to look at the use case. And that's why we went to the PUD specifically and said, hey, we ought to look at the use case for each one of these three tenants. And if you look at the use case for each one of the three tenants that's there today, to require more parking would be beyond our requirements. Now, and that's why when we talked about the PUD, we said we really need to protect against somebody coming in down the road and putting in a fitness facility. That was an example that somebody raised that's going to be open all the time, and you could have nighttime traffic, and that wouldn't work. Or in the event that they do want to bring a fitness facility, they don't just get to do that. They have to come back to the city to have a conversation with us to get approval. So we really, again, they're kind of locked in because of these use cases. And, that was a downside to them, but they were willing to go down that path to have this change in the PUD to reflect those use cases.
Okay.
Just one more question.
Okay,
sorry.
Councilman Hudson, and then we're going to put it to a vote here.
Yep, last question. So let's say 2 years down the road, all right, none of the restaurants have changed, everybody's exactly as they are right now. I guess you kind of mentioned that it'd be self-evident if there was a parking crisis. What would be done at that moment to address that crisis if it came up? Because I'm thinking west of 76th Street 2 years from now, there's going to be some townhomes there, assuming that, there are potential plans for there to be more residential there. So I guess my concern is once this entire strip mall is filled out, once the apartments are filled with residents 2 years from now and everything is pretty much at capacity, at what point do we say there's a problem if some employees or some patrons are parking in the driveways or along the road, along that development across the street going south on 76th Street? I guess, do we hear complaints, and at what point do we take action, and what does that action look like? I guess that's my question.
More than likely, it would be complaint-driven. The other route would be potentially if emergency response starts finding these things and running into problems with circulating within the site. If there's not a tenant change, it will be very hard to do something, but by the PUD, the ball gets put in their court to figure out how they're going to resolve the matter. Shy of the council shutting somebody down, you really are going to be a little bit stuck. This is our best opportunity. I imagine it means finding the employees from some of the other restaurants, the other businesses to also be parking off-site. Ultimately, the developer, the owner, has that control to put in their lease agreements what has to happen to make these things work. So unfortunately, if we get in a situation, there is not an easy fix to the problem. We will work with them the best we can. We'll try and find that solution, but it will probably come down to a complaint basis of their parking in the residential neighborhoods and they don't like it. They're parking on 76 and the emergency response can't get through. Until it really happens, we're kind of going to speculate as to what
Let's
those
hope it
problems
happens.
are.
That means that all these restaurants are wildly successful, as is the development, and they've got a major parking problem that they're probably going to be maybe not happy, but willing to accommodate, and they'll have to. So,
And also, let's hope that an employee doesn't get run over in Ashworth Road trying to get to work.
Thank you, Renee and Matt, on your work on this. Really appreciate it, and thank you, Lynn.
all right, please vote.
3 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention. An ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, and ordinance numbers 2445 and 2476 pertaining to Plan Unit Development District regulations and guidelines.
Okay, who moved it and who
I
seconded?
think I moved it.
All right, go ahead.
So I move approval of the first reading.
Okay, who seconded?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, please vote.
Three yes, one no, and one abstention.
All right. Item 6D. This is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider amendment to City Code Title 9 zoning, Chapter 16, temporary use permits, modified regulations pertaining to application requirements for temporary garden center permits initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 2nd, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the ordinance amendment.
Okay, anybody in the audience like to address council on item 6D, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody online or in the chamber that would like to address the council on item 6D? Okay, seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we've got an ordinance amendment for approval, the first reading, to clarify when a hold harmless agreement is needed in regards to temporary garden permits, and there are no outstanding issues. Does somebody want to move consideration of the first reading?
Motion to consider the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's a moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title 9 zoning, Chapter 16, temporary use permits.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, are we on item 6D?
E.
Sorry. Item 6E. This is time and place for public hearing to consider agreement to private development project Ruthenium initiated by Microsoft Corporation. Ryan, just please read the date the notice was published.
May 16th, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And receive any written comment to this hearing.
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who'd like to address the council on item 6E, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Okay, welcome.
Good evening.
Good to see you again.
I'm Jackie Nicholas, Land Development Manager for Microsoft, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington. I'd just like to add, though, that I've been a resident of the Des Moines Metro for over 25 years, so we have a local person now.
Excellent.
And I'm available to answer any questions you might have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to address the council on item 6E? Okay, hearing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution for approval of the development agreement with Microsoft Corporation. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously by the Finance Administration City Council Subcommittee as well.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just a big deal, so.
Yeah. I would
deal
just
as
say
always.
it is a huge deal. This is going to be our 6th Microsoft data center. Microsoft, I believe, is the largest property taxpayer in our city, and we'll have 400 employees, I think, with this data center, or maybe they even have 400 now. But you guys have been just a great corporate citizen. We really appreciate everything that you do for us in the way of job creation, in the way of growing our tax base. You also contributed up close to about $1 million for the Jamie Hurd Amphitheater out here, which is beautiful. So I just can't even tell you how much we appreciate our partnership with you guys and all that you do for us. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6F and 6G, both of these items were being asked to continue the June 17th council meeting. Can I get a motion to continue both items 6F and G until that time? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6H, we are being asked to continue to the June 3rd council meeting. Can I get a motion? to consider?
Motion to continue.
Okay,
Second.
it's moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, 6I and 6J, we are being asked to withdraw to accurately identify the entity in which the property is to be conveyed.
Motion for withdrawal.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6K, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider conveyance of property to Herd Black LLC, 1.44 acres located adjacent to Mill Civic Parkway, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 12th, 2024 in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience would like to address the council on item 6K, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6K? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution opening, closing the public hearing, and approving conveyance of the property interest to Herd Black LLC, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just thank you to our legal team for taking care of this.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming. Really appreciate wrapping this up. Okay, with no further discussion, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6L. This is time and place for a public hearing to consider the conveyance of property to Herd West Glen LLC, .31 acres located adjacent to Mill Civic Parkway, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 12th, 2024 in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who'd like to address the council on item 6L, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6L? Okay, seeing and hearing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We got a resolution opening, closing the public hearing, and approving the conveyance of property interest to Herd West Glen LLC, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion
Motion to
approval.
approve. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6M. This is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Brookfield Elementary School, 8,000 EP True Parkway, conveyance of property interest to Waukee Community School Districts, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 14th, 2024 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience would like to address the council on item 6M, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6M? Okay, once again, seeing and hearing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution opening, closing the public hearing, and approving conveyance of the property interest to the Waukee Community School District for Brookfield Elementary, and there are no outstanding issues.
So move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
What?
Five yes.
Okay, item 6N. This is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Raccoon River Greenway boat access, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 3rd, 2024 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience would like to address the council on item 6N, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6N? Going once, going twice. I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. We've got two resolutions and a motion which we can take together. We've got a resolution approving the plans and specifications, a motion to receive and file a report of bids, and a resolution to approve the contract. Does somebody want to move approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Button worked that time.
Okay, item 7, new business. Item 7A, Porsche Des Moines, 7220 Lake Drive, approve full site plan to allow construction of an auto dealership building and associated site improvements, LBP Des Moines LLC. We've got a resolution for approval of the site plan, and there are no outstanding issues. This was also approved unanimously by both Development of Planning and Planning and Zoning. There is one condition of approval regarding installed and functional fire hydrants, as well as proper access to the site during construction. Does somebody want to move approval?
Motion for approval.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on this item or online? Hit *6 to unmute yourself. Is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 7B, plat of survey, parcel 24-34, southeast corner of EP2 Parkway and Wendover Lane. Approved plat of survey to create a 23.85 acre parcel to transfer of ownership, Pavilion Park LC. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the plat of survey, and there are no outstanding issues. There are, however, two conditions of approval. One, that this is just being done for the transfer of ownership, and two, that no development is to occur until the land is replatted through the city's subdivision process. Can I get somebody to move?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address council on item 7B? Okay, any discussion on the dais? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 7C, ordinance amendment, amend city code, Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 1, Streets, Sidewalks, and Alleys, Section 5, removal of snow and/or ice accumulations. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval, the first reading. There are no outstanding issues, and this was, I think this was also approved by the Community Compliance City Council Subcommittee.
Yes, it was today. Motion to consider the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address council on item 7C? Any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
Five yes. An ordinance amend the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 1, Streets, Sidewalks, and Alleys, Section 5, removal of snow and/or ice accumulations.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. We have no items to receive, file, or refer. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters any council person would like to raise at this time? I guess I do want to raise one, and something I forgot to talk about in my report, and that is a couple things. One, I just want to congratulate our Citizen of the Year, Al Womble. He is a great guy. He's done a lot of stuff in our community. He's always working to do more, and we honored him at the Chamber annual dinner, and I was not there to be a part of it. And then also, of course, our Emerging Citizen of the Year, Caitlin Clark. There are so many things that could be said about her. She's won so many awards and done the city so proud. I can't even, words cannot even say how proud I am of Caitlin Clark, our Emerging Citizen of the Year. But the other thing that I want to bring up, too, is that my Mayor Pro Tem Trevelyan, in my absence, presented these awards on very short notice, and I hear did a phenomenal job, according to Catherine. And so I just want to thank you, Kevin, for stepping in and presenting those awards and doing the great job that you did.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right, with no other business to come before the council, we are adjourned.